This is Dan Seifert with The Verge, and we are taking a look at the new HTC 10. This is HTC's new flagship phone for 2016. It's a very obvious successor to last year's M9 and A9, kind of blends the design of those two phones together. Much like every one of HTC's flagship phones for the past couple of years, the 10 has a full metal unibody design. It really has a ton of metal here. There's only a little bit of plastic for antenna bands at the top and these stripes on the back. One thing that HTC has done different this year is this massive chamfered edge, which has a different kind of finish than the matte finish of the back. But otherwise it feels and looks pretty similar to last year's phones as well. Around front we've got a 5.2-inch Quad HD display. This is a new Super LCD panel that HTC says has 30% more color than its prior panels. It's very bright and vibrant and sharp, of course, kind of what you'd expect for a screen in 2016. Below that there's a fingerprint home button as well as fingerprint scanners, so you can wake the phone up and unlock it right with that. And you can see next to it that there are now capacitive buttons. HTC has returned to this design after a few years of using on-screen buttons. One of the things that HTC has long struggled with is the camera, and of course this year they're promising that it's much better. The new camera is a 12 megapixel ultra pixel camera, so it has larger pixels. It's got a 1.8 aperture lens as well as optical image stabilization, dual LED flash, true tone type of flash, as well as a second generation laser autofocus system. Also around front, the new camera up top is a 5 megapixel unit. It too also has an f1.8 aperture lens as well as optical image stabilization, which HTC says is the first phone with an optically image stabilized front camera. So that's pretty unique. It's supposed to improve your selfies there. One thing that this phone doesn't have from last year is front-facing speakers. You might notice that the speaker port on the bottom here is for the main speaker, which handles a lot of your bass frequencies. HTC also says it put a tweeter up top with a separate amp for both of them. So it's supposed to have a very high output as well as great range. HTC says that the 10 is an HD audio or hi-fi audio certified phone, so it'll have better range and output. As far as software goes, it's running Android 6.0 Marshmallow, as well as with HTC's interface on top. HTC says it's done a lot to reduce the number of redundant apps here. As you can see, it's using Google's Calendar, HTC's Mail app, Google's Play Music app, Google Photos instead of HTC's old gallery, so that it reduces the number of duplicate apps that you have. Of course, this being an unlocked model, that will likely change when carriers get their hands on it. But otherwise, the interface is very similar to Google's Nexus interface. It's very stock-like here. It's probably one of the most stock-like interfaces that HTC has ever produced. There's very little bit of HTC's customization there. The HTC 10 is powered by a Snapdragon 820 processor. It's also got 4 gigabytes of RAM, so it's certainly the higher end processor that you'd expect from a premium phone in 2016. Inside is 32 gigabytes of memory. There is a micro SD card slot for expansion as well. Other unique features this year: USB-C charger. It's Quick Charge 3.0 compatible. Inside it's got a 3000 milliamp hour battery that HTC claims up to 2 hours of battery life on, which is a really long time for this size of phone. HTC says that this will be priced around a flagship phone price, so you can expect this to be at least $600 or so, probably even a little bit more. It'll be available on all of the major carriers in the US, and it should be hitting shelves very soon. Stay tuned, we're going to have much more on the HTC 10, including a full review in the near future. Thanks for watching. We are really excited to check out this HTC 10 and put it to the test in our full review real soon. Until then, check out these videos on the side and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more.